up guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to this channel, my name's Sam Clark and this is One Life Cars, and today I'm going to show you guys how to remove and replace the rear brake pads on this Mark 5 Vauxhall Astra. So without further ado, let's crack on. First thing you want to do guys is get the car jacked up and off the ground. Do a side at a time. If you want to, you can jack the whole back end up and put it on axle stance, but today we've not got much equipment, so we're just going to jack it on one side. Chock it a bit. If you've not got an axle stand, use some bricks or a spare wheel or anything just to cover yourself if it does fall. Loosen off your wheel nuts first. If you've got a locking nut, don't forget that before you jack the car up. Take the slack off. Don't pull the nuts all the way out, just literally snap them so they're not tight, then jack the car off, and then we can get the wheel off and I'll show you guys how to remove and replace the rear brake pads. Alright guys, as you can see the wheels off, the car's jacked up. I use a scaffolding pole for help with the wheel nuts, as sometimes they can be pretty tight, especially on older stuff. So looking at these back brakes, they're not good at all. This person has left them far too long, but you know, we're all busy. Sometimes you can't get around to it, even though I won't condone it for these. You can't let your brakes get like this guys, it's a joke. You know, as you can see, the wear on the disc is probably from the edge to the inner about 5mm or something. It definitely needs new discs. So this video is just for the pads. I'm just going to show you how to change the pads today. Keep it simple. I'll do a full video on the discs another time. So first thing you want to do is get your caliper off this mount. That's bolted to the mount. So this is your caliper mount. This sort of frame that goes around there, that's the caliper itself on the inside, and it's held on by sometimes the Allen key heads. This one's just a normal, I think that's a 13mm bolt, and there's one lower down there as well. The first thing you want to do is undo both of those. So just to take off these calipers, I thought I'd mention, so it is a 13mm bolt at the back here, but there's another little sort of thread locking nut here as well, which I think is a 14. So you just want to get some on that. It's not that tight, it's just to hold the thread in so it can't just slide out if it did come loose. So just get some on that as well, and then undo this anti-clockwise, your 13mm, get that bolt off, and repeat at the bottom here, and your caliper will sort of pull out this way. This bit in the middle, this bit will stay where it is, the frame around the outside, the mount, whatever you want to call it. This is, it will be very stiff, especially when the brakes are battered like this. It'll be all sort of wedged in together, so it won't be easy to pull out, but sometimes you need a bit of a tap from one end or whatnot. Persuade them out. So I'll get this off and then we'll have a look at getting the old pads out, fitting the new ones and tidying up the, you know, all this rust and corrosion a bit, and best we can to give them sort of half a chance. People, I wasn't going to start filming again until I sort of got all this off and cleaned it up a bit and to show you the reassembly of the new bits, but I've got to show you this. Look, this is what not to do with your brakes guys. Oh, another thing too I didn't mention before is winding back the caliper. You do the tool for that, which I have got, so we'll go into that in a second, but for right now, the backing plates were just corroded off. The caliper, the pads themselves just stayed there, and there's not much to it. Get a flat screwdriver behind that, or I'll get some pliers and try and prise the clip out. And this is what's left of a brake pad. Can you just pass me one of the new pads please? Let's have a look at one of the new pads. This is the new Brembo rear brake pad. Let's have a look at that thickness. Let's get one of the old ones. Yeah, you can see the problem there straight away. Not going too much into it. Always check your brake guys, don't let them get to this, because at the end of the day it's all well and good laughing, but it's bloody dangerous that. Anyway, back to it. So I'm going to get the other side off, get a wire brush and all this, and sort of try and clean it up best I can, and then we'll have a look at rewinding the caliper back before we put the new pads and clips in. So guys, after a lot of banging and struggling, I've got both of the old clips on, both the old pads off. I'm going to chip away at a bit of this rust on the edge of the disc. Please ignore this, me putting the pads back on that disc. Do not do that, I don't recommend it. There'll be a video changing the disc very soon. But for now, for getting your new pads on, you're going to need to wind back the inside of the caliper to fit the new pads in. Otherwise, you know, as the pads wear down the old ones, this pushes out, leaves you with no space. So to do that, you need a wind back tool. Now this tool here should have another plate with it, which clips into this bit to sort of hold it all secure. And as you can see, I'll just get it back out, there's 2 prongs on it, and there's 2 indentations there at the back of the caliper. So those prongs sort of go into the 2 indentations. I'll try and show you now on the video. Like so. And then that'll turn clockwise to turn it in, and as it turns it pushes the caliper back, the piston back should I say. So in this case I've not got the plate to hold it secure, so I'm going to get someone to hold the caliper for me, which you can do, or if you have the plate set up you can sort of, it sort of holds itself in while you turn it. It's a lot easier. I will say guys, it's very hard to do this without this tool. They're not cheap, but it's worth having. It's just called a caliper rewind tool. This one cost me about £35. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but definitely needed, definitely worth it. It is possible to pry some of them back, but most of them turn as they go in, so it's very hard to find a tool that will turn it properly and push it back at the same time. So I'm going to get this back on. I'm going to wind it in until this caliper's far enough back for me to squeeze in 2 of the new pads. Once I can get 2 of the new pads in with a gap in the middle to go past the disc, then I know it's back far enough. So it's just a bit of trial and error. Keep winding it back, keep trying the new pads till you've got enough space to clear the disc. And also, like I said, I'm going to clean everything up best I can around here, and then we'll wind the caliper back. I'll show you popping the new clips in, new pads in, and we can meet it all together. Another thing I forgot to mention earlier is, before you start trying to rewind the calipers back, it's a good idea to pop the bonnet up, find the brake fluid reservoir, which is here on the Astra, just sort of on the left of the engine bay, right at the back, and just undo the cap, take the cap off, because then any built up pressure as you're pushing the caliper back can be released. You don't really have to do it, because there is sort of air releases in the system, but it helps for what it's worth. Anyway, back to rewinding the calipers. Right guys, I've got the new pads in, as you can see. I've scraped off all the worst of the rust off the edge of the disc, even though I shouldn't be reusing it anyway, but for now, put a bit of copper grease underneath the new clips, just to stop any squeaking and stuff, and we'll put a little bit of copper grease on the back of the pads, just a little bit though, don't lever it on, because it will spurt everywhere all over the disc. And then continue winding that back, it needs a bit more. It took a lot of winding that, because the old pads were so worn down, and then we'll basically, it's just a case of squeezing the caliper back over the pads, and then putting our 2 30mm bolts back on. You might need to adjust the handbrake after doing this, but there will be a link in the description of this video and an end card to how to adjust the handbrake on this car, the Vauxhall Astra Mark 5. So we'll get this reassembled and then we'll finish the video off for you guys. Right guys, we've got the brakes fully reassembled. Copper grease the back of the pads, as you can see there. After winding back the caliper, that's what you saw last, basically just slid it into position and tightened up the 2 30mm bolts holding the caliper to the mount. Make sure everything's nice and tight, and that's about it really. Sometimes you need the brakes bleeding, but in this case the fluid's good and it still seems to be plenty of pressure on the pedal. I'm going to do the other side now, but you don't need to see that, it's the same as this side. One thing I will say is, if you notice one side's worse than the other, still do both sides. It needs to keep the wear even. But that's about it for today's video, how to remove and replace the brake pads on the Vauxhall Astra Mark 5. I hope you enjoyed this video guys. If you did, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and you like seeing car and bike content, or you've got a request for a tutorial yourself, hit that subscribe button and let me know. Other than that, until next time, peace.